The stranger sitting in my car face screaming in fear automobile. It was a cold November night in Chicago, the kind of night where the wind bites through your jacket and the city feels lonelier than ever. I had just finished a double shift at the diner, 8 hours of fake smiles, greasy plates, and the constant clatter of dishes. My body ached, my eyes burned, and all I wanted was to sit in my old Honda Civic, blast the heater, and drive home to my tiny apartment on the south side. But when I reached the parking lot behind the diner, my heart stopped. There was someone sitting inside my car. A silhouette in the driver's seat, motionless, as if waiting for me. For a few seconds, I froze, clutching my bag to my chest. My first thought was theft. My second thought was worse. In this city, people didn't just steal your car, they could steal your life. I looked around. The lot was empty. Just my Civic, a couple of dumpsters, and the neon open 24 hours sign flickering above the diner. My breath clouded the air as I stepped closer. "Hey!" I shouted, forcing more courage into my voice than I actually felt. "Get the hell out of my car." The figure shifted, slowly. Then, to my shock, the door opened and the stranger stepped out. It was a man. Mid-30s, maybe. His clothes were dirty, but not in a homeless kind of way, more like he'd been traveling, worn from the road. He raised his hands, palms out. "I'm sorry," he said softly. His voice was raspy, exhausted. I didn't mean to scare you." I tightened my grip on my bag. "You broke into my car. That's pretty damn scary." He shook his head quickly. "I didn't break in. It was unlocked." That stung. I cursed myself silently. I was always rushing, always tired. I must have left it unlocked. The man looked at me then, really looked, with these pale blue eyes that seemed full of something I couldn't place: desperation, fear, regret. "I just needed a place to sit," he said. "Just for a while. I didn't take anything, I swear." For a moment, I considered running back inside, calling the cops, letting them deal with him. But something about the way he stood there, shoulders slumped, hands trembling slightly, kept me rooted. He didn't look dangerous. He looked broken. "Who are you?" I demanded. He hesitated. "Name's Daniel." "Okay, Daniel," I said, trying to sound firm. "Why my car? Why tonight?" He glanced down at the cracked asphalt, kicking at a pebble. Then he whispered, "Because I didn't know where else to go." Against every instinct screaming inside me, I let him talk. Maybe it was exhaustion, maybe curiosity, maybe the faintest echo of compassion I hadn't felt in years. We ended up sitting in the car together, the heater humming, our breath fogging the windows. Daniel told me bits and pieces of his story, like torn pages from a book. He had grown up in Ohio, joined the army at 18. Served in Afghanistan. Came back with scars no one could see. His marriage fell apart. Jobs slipped through his fingers. Nights turned into years of running from memories, from himself. "I've been sober for 6 months, he said quietly, staring at the steering wheel. "Longest I've ever managed. But tonight I almost relapsed. I walked past a bar 3 times before I ended up here. I just needed somewhere safe to sit. Somewhere I wouldn't do something stupid." His voice cracked on the last word, and for a moment, I saw not a stranger, but a man drowning in silence, begging for someone to throw a rope. I swallowed hard. My chest tightened in a way I hadn't expected. Because I knew that feeling. Different demons, same weight. You see, I wasn't supposed to be here either. I had come to Chicago chasing dreams. Journalism school, bright future, 1,000 promises. But then life happened, my father's death, my mother's hospital bills, and the cruel math of survival. The dream was gone, replaced by greasy aprons and unpaid rent. Some nights, I wondered what would happen if I just stopped. So when Daniel spoke, it was like hearing my own secret thoughts aloud. An hour passed. The diner closed behind us, and the lot grew quieter, colder. Daniel kept apologizing, insisting he would leave, that he didn't want to cause trouble. But I shook my head. "You're not causing trouble," I said. "You're just lost." He looked at me, surprised. We sat in silence for a while, listening to the distant hum of the city. And then, out of nowhere, he asked, "Do you believe people get second chances?" I thought of my mother working 2 jobs just to keep us afloat. Of my own wasted degree. Of the countless nights I told myself tomorrow would be different, but it never was. "Yes," I said finally. "But you have to take them. Nobody hands them to you." He nodded slowly, as if holding on to those words like a lifeline. Eventually, Daniel left. He thanked me, promised he'd be okay, and walked off into the night, shoulders hunched against the wind. I watched until he disappeared around the corner. I never saw him again. But something shifted in me that night. Because Daniel wasn't just some stranger sitting in my car. He was a mirror. A reminder that we're all one bad decision, one cruel twist of fate, one locked or unlocked door away from being the person people cross the street to avoid. The next morning, I dusted off my old laptop. I started writing again, not for grades, not for professors, but for myself. Articles, essays, stories like this one. About people, about struggles, about the quiet wars we fight in empty parking lots. Maybe Daniel found his second chance. Maybe he didn't. I'll never know. But because of him, I found mine.